Hello, everybody, and welcome to this latest episode of Small Business Success Talk. As we are in transition of rebranding this show from Small Business Small Talk to Small Business Success Talk. I'm thoroughly excited about that. It's a great change because realistically, every one of my guests or every time I've done an episode, it's not about small talk. Like, we don't just sit around and shoot the shit. We're talking about very intentional things to hear and spotlight a small business owner, their story, what got them there, what inspires them, how do they stay in a mode of building their business for the future, what motivates them, what's been their biggest learning lessons, what advice have they gotten, what advice would they give you? Like, this is not just small talk. This is big conversations about small business and how everything we are growing together. So I encourage you to go back and listen to some of those episodes, because while it might be labeled a show, Small Business Small Talk, we don't do small talk at all. Well, maybe a few minutes worth out of the whole episode. We're very intentional. I am very intentional about sharing with you a guest who really deserves to be spotlighted. Like, they're ready to share that story, and they need just another space and platform in which to do it. And I am glad that I get to be able to be a part of that for them. Now, who am I? Well, I am your host, Christy Smallwood. I am a business owner. Actually, I own multiple businesses based in Louisville, Kentucky. And I love to do, like, this is one of my sweet spots in life. It just brings me joy and smile all of the time to be able to do shows like this. I usually tell people I have a lot of words. I need to put them somewhere. So guess what? You get it today. For each of these episodes, I try to have, like, if it's just me, which today is just me. However, it's not just me. It's everything I've been, like, culminating over the course of the past few weeks that I just want to share back out some learnings and some insights with you that I experience as a business owner in the world, and what that filter looks like and how to do it. And not just, this is not a show specifically for women business owners, but as a woman in business, I have a different filter than men in business, than, other people in business. So here we are. Let's talk today. A couple of things, a couple of logistics around here. If you want to find more episodes of this show, if you've randomly found it in the first place, we have a Facebook page, we have a YouTube channel, we have a website, smallbusinesssmalltalk.com. We'll transition to smallbusinesssuccesstalk.com. So the show itself is now rebranded to Small Business Success Talk, and that is its own journey. Like, I'm happy to talk about that too, and how it's been affected over time, and where I'd love it to grow into something even bigger. I'm excited to see what the future has for this particular show. I'm also at a stage where I'm offering some sponsorships. So if you're interested in sponsoring a show in which gets you additional eyeballs somewhere, some more audience that aligns with the values and what we're sharing here, by all means, reach out. Let's have that conversation. Because you could be a sponsor partner like the Chamber of St. Matthews. I love to brag on my Chamber of St. Matthews because we're pretty hip hopping, bebopping with it, jiving kind of. No, that's all wrong. I've tried to be younger than I actually am, and it's not coming off well at all. We're definitely a vibrant chamber located in St. Matthews, in Jefferson County, Kentucky. So right in Louisville area, but we don't service just St. Matthews. That's the beauty of it. We welcome everybody in. We're throughout the entire region. We have over 90 zip codes now that we have memberships out. We have members out in over 90 zip codes. So I love that our chamber is inclusive and loves small business. And the whole mission is to connect small business with community, to connect business and community together, to do great things, How awesome is that? And so I brag on them. If you are not involved in your local chamber, so say you are out in Texas or Wyoming or Montana, not sure where you may be listening from right now, but if you are not part of your local chamber, you might check into ours because we also have some virtual options, and it would be great to meet you and connect you in with a vibrant group of other business owners and professionals. So shout out to the huge Chamber of St. Matthews for being a sponsor partner in this show for Small Business Success Talk. So I could, here's the thing. I'm really involved with that chamber. I could brag all day because I love the people. The relationships that I make through this chamber have been a game changer for my business. And not because all of my business comes from there, because it doesn't. It's because of the support system with other business professionals as I have new ideas or challenges, or I'm trying to build and develop this business and I need referrals, and how am I showing up? Like great feedback and benchmarking and everything your business needs, you can get through a support system like a chamber. That's enough on that, because I would end up making this a show about the chamber. That's already a separate episode. You should go check that one out. What I want to talk about today is if I were to put it in a professional business terms, it would be, let's talk about the SWOT analysis. That part of your strategy that makes you get real with yourself and you have to pay attention to what's going on in the world around you. That's the SWOT analysis, and get it defined. And then how do we use this tool to get better with what's happening with the business? That particular piece of the strategy, when really it's a matter of, it's deeper than that, is the conversation I want to have today. It's deeper than that. So let me start this part with a little story. In case you didn't know me, if you've never met me, again, my name is Christy. I'm also Wonder Woman. I am not just a huge fan, but I'm very knowledgeable about Wonder Woman's history and her storylines. And, I don't have all of the tchotchkes or statues, or, not everything around here looks like it's, a Wonder Woman merchandise. But when it comes to the stories and the meaning, the attributes, the purpose and the mission of how she was created in the first place, it means a lot to me. I associate that with that tremendously. And a lot of people having that association as a personal brand association is awesome. It's very easy for people to look at me and talk to me and spend time with me and get it. You really are like, how do you do all that stuff? Because I'm Wonder Woman. It's simple. It's like, okay. Plus, for some reason, Christy is just one of those names that people have a hard time remembering that it's Christy. I probably should change my name somewhere along the way, but that's why I also tell people, just call me Wonder Woman. I'll answer. They remember that. It's really easy. Now, will DC Comics come down on me for that? Maybe, but I don't sell it. It's just part of, hey, remember me as Wonder Woman and we're all good. Now, because I love Wonder Woman so much, part of her and my story together is that I, at one time in my life, was married, and I was having it was really bad. It was a really, really bad experience for me with that particular man. And I've only been married one time, so that should tell you a lot. Anyway, I don't want to digress too much, but that was really bad. But this particular, I am actually, if you're not watching the video, I'm holding up a very specific Wonder Woman comic. It's the fantastic first issue. This was a rebirthing, if you will, of Wonder Woman's origin stories. And it was February 1987. And back then, a comic was 75 cents, to give you an idea. And this cover is a full cover, front and back. The whole artwork covers the front and back. And it's just so intricate and it's amazing. George Perez being the artist. And so this run lasted a long time. And he and amongst, other contributors did the work of this story. I loved it so much. It was just perfection for a storyline to get started with. It was awesome. I found this at a time during my marriage that this literally saved me. Between this and praying on my knees in the bathroom or face down in the bathroom, these are the things that got me through, because I could take and I could associate with Wonder Woman and the trials that she had to go through. I could associate with that. So it helped me. Well, George Perez, being the artist and contributor, has had a great impact in my life because of that. Because of his impact, because of his willingness to share his gifts of art and talent, creativity with people like me, it made a huge difference in my life. From that moment forward, I was forever changed because of his contributions. How does that relate to a SWOT analysis? When we look at strengths and weaknesses, and I look at my strengths column and I say, what about me is strong? Like, what are my attributes? What are my gifts, my skills, my things that are strong? I look at that and say, how did I get that? Was I born with it? Or is this something that has developed over time? Where did that begin? That thing that makes me really amazing, where did that start? My ability to be both, I don't necessarily want to use the word naive, but maybe more, I'd love to brag and say childlike, but maybe more willing to be wondrous, like wonder about the world more. Like I'm naive enough to not know everything. I know I don't know everything, but I'm also confident enough to know I know things. Like these are the things I do know, and this is where I'm strong at. That is one of those attributes about Princess Diana, Wonder Woman, that I emulate, not on purpose. It just was how he was able to bring her to life. George Perez bringing her to life, her innocence in a new world, but confidence to take on the new challenge is what I can absolutely relate to. There's trepidation. There's the can I not? Oh, I know I have these skills. I know I can do, like, really honing down into that. I relate to this, and the way that he projected it, I saw myself going through my own stuff in these pages. And so when I look at those strengths, I have to go back to this origination and who was a part of that. Well, George Perez was a part of that. And because his contribution has a very strong effect on me. So fast forward, George Perez specifically is now fighting pancreatic cancer. It's very sad for me because I've never gotten to meet George Perez personally, but now I'm part of, I watch on Facebook and I'm part of that group that is, cheering him on from the sidelines, so to speak. And he and I may never get the opportunity to meet in person like that, but I got the opportunity to do as part of that group, I got the opportunity to submit a virtual hug video in which I could tell him, here's the kind of impact you've had in my life, because not only did it help me get out of that space back in the day, but it helped throughout time. So, if I were to say fast forward to recent days, when I've written a book about the hero's journey with a superhero twist, applying it to our own lives, George Perez helped get me in that position to write this book. That is the kind of impact that somebody can have in your life when we are intentional about looking at. So don't just, oh my gosh, there's so many words I have right now. I don't even know which ones to start with. When we are intentional about going deeper into those things in which make us strong or even make us weak, and we analyze, we go deeper into the story behind it. What happened because of this? Like, where is the root of that thing? And then we start to come back out of it. We're like, okay, that root, did it produce good fruit or is it rotten? It either stays or it goes. And that is what self-assessment, having a self-awareness, being able to do that self-assessment and having a discovery sessions and definitions. Like, we get to decide a lot of that stuff, whether we keep it or not. But unless you know how you have been affected by others, you have, whether you realize it or not, you have formed a belief set based on the experience that you've had with others. So when you take the time to then analyze, assess, and go deeper into those belief sets, where did that start? How did that be? What about that situation caused me to believe this thing? And does me believing this thing help me get to where I want to get in the future or not? And if it does not, how do I overcome it? What does it need to be? How do I need to change that thought? How do I need to flip the paradigm, if you will, into something more productive and future moving? Like, when you see all the billionaires are like mindset, they ain't lying. But sometimes they don't tell you how or why, or like, this is the power of it. Like, you just get to this bottom line of it. Really, you have the power in your brain to do the things. Okay. So, but then how do we, like, what tool do we use to get there? Use a SWOT analysis, but continue to go deeper like a 3-year-old. So asking, like, why is this? Why is that? So when you use a SWOT analysis, you're looking at strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strengths and weaknesses are your internal things. Opportunities and threats are that which exists externally, such as, let's take opportunities. If you do a positioning statement graph, like a positioning graph of your competitors in the marketplace, that positioning graph typically has, your X and Y, your vertical and your horizontal. You pick 2 things, price and quality, whatever. Pick 2 things. It could be virtual or on site. It could be, pick the 2 things in which you want to compare. And then you place all of the players on the graph and how they fit in those 2 things. Where do you fit in those 2 things? Are you overlapping your competition, or are you filling in a gap? That gap, the open space in that graph, tells you there's a need that is not being met. I need to go there. Find that gap. Okay. So that positioning, that's how to see some opportunities. What does that look like? So having that positioning graph allows you to find those opportunities really well. Opportunities are also any ideas that you may have. You're like, how can I test a brand new idea out? Well, something like this show, tested it out. Season 1 went really well. Season 2 went okay. Could I do better? Sure. Let's just go ahead and make it as often as I possibly can, weekly, and see where this takes us. We're still in an experimental phase on this show, but I love doing it so much, I don't think I'll never not do it. So having that positioning graph allows you to see the opportunities as well as label all your ideas, your great new things that you may want to do. It could be having a book. It could be, I say that simple. That's a simple idea. It takes work to get any of that stuff done. So ideas can come from all over the place. Those are great opportunities. Opportunities can also be people that you would like to meet. Okay. Opportunities can also be your chicken shit list. I call it a chicken shit list. Whenever, and let me explain. So if you aren't familiar with my little country sayings every so often, these are the people that are on my list, George Perez being one of them, that I was just flat too chicken shit to even reach out to in the first place. Somebody that what I would love to meet, to have an endorsement for my book. Okay. Endorsements for my book. I have a chicken shit list. If I could get that person, that'd be great. But I am terrified to reach out. Like, what do I really have to say and offer these people? They're so far advanced than me. Well, so they're on the chicken shit list, people like Gail Simone and Patty Jenkins and Linda Carter, Robert Downey Jr., Gal Gadot, like those people. I don't run in their circles, but if you like this show well enough and you know them, please say something nice. Oh, that would be fantastic. So anyway, aside from fangirling, those are also opportunities. So your chicken shit list, and then how to overcome that. So because it is an opportunity, if you had somebody to endorse you, like that's the influencer marketing. Well, and then some. Now let's talk about threats. I've joked before on some episodes about, one threat that nobody had on their list was the pandemic. Well, now we know that we need to plan for literally the unthinkable. So what are some other threats that are out there? Well, other threats can also be associations with people we may not need to be around. Those associations are going to come through figuring out in my circle of people that I associate with, whether it be everywhere from best friends to associates to team members to bosses to employees to strategic partners to people that you may mix and mingle with at networking events or other groups. Who do you sit by at church? Like it could be anybody. Are they helping your mental state? Do they help fuel your value system, or are they in constant attack mode of your value system? If they are not helping matters, you need to position them in your life thusly, like appropriately put them in a time limit mode. Like I can handle this person for 5 minutes and I can handle this person for 3 hours. These people I could live with forever. So on that scale of how well, not only do you get along, but how well are they supporting you mentally, emotionally, physically? Like, are they going to show up when you need that kind of help? There's all these qualifying questions to just ask yourself. That matters because who we associate helps get us where we want to be. You would not be listening or watching this episode if you didn't at all think that it was going to be somewhat helpful for you on your journey of business ownership. You just wouldn't. I get that. I know that. This is why I don't have millions of viewers, because not everybody's a business owner. Not everyone wants to listen to me. So thank you for your time today. I appreciate that. So another thing that has come up for me recently, all in this same vein, is what I've been learning from Darren Hardy. So if you're not familiar with Darren Hardy, and let me introduce you. Darren Hardy is a success mentor, and he's extremely fantastic at what he does. He and I jive on so many levels, like personality, our approach, what he has to share. And so in my business, what I do, because I own multiple businesses, let me just say this now, I own multiple brands of business. I'm CEO of everything, but where Christy's sweet spot is I'm a strategist, a speaker, an author, but I also do all the stuff. And when I say that, I have a team that I did all of the stuff at one time, but my team now does the specifics for the marketing agency. So when I say all the stuff, I have a marketing agency and we do traditional and digital and relational kind of stuff. We can do literally all things marketing because I will pull in strategic partners and I become your quasi chief marketing officer, if you will. So I have this marketing agency. I also have coaching and training that I do. So that is its own brand of a business, is business coaching and training. Well, then I'm also this speaker and author. Well, that's its own kind of business and needs and all that kind of stuff. So I have, and plus this show is its own brand. The book itself is its own brand. So I have multiple things going on. So where does somebody like me go as a business coach and a strategist to get better at being my role? Like I always want to continue to level up and stay on the top, on the latest trends and how it fits into a foundation of strategy. Like how we function as human beings really doesn't change a whole lot, but how we're behaving in the world might because of new technology. So then how does this all align and how do I stay on top of things? I go to somebody like Darren Hardy. Darren is my success mentor. And I am currently on 2 programs with him. Business Masterclass. I'm going to be taking it again in the fall. That was intense. Whew. It was, but extremely well worth it. But I'm also on what's called the Hero's Journey. It is a year-long leadership training program. And again, where does somebody who, if you're seeing the video, you see my awards in the background, most of these, 1, 2, 3 of the 4 of these are for being an excellent leader of some sort. So while I might be a good leader, I'm always leveling up. Like I need to know how to get better at these things. So where do I go? I go here. So Hero's Journey, this last module that we were in, we're talking about building confidence, not just in ourselves. We have, as a leader, we need to be confident, but how do we build confidence in others that may be around us? So as a strength or weakness, do you have confidence in who you are as a business leader? If the answer is no, we need to work on that because we want to get your level of confidence up, because how you show up in the world affects other people. We'll get to that in a minute. So if you don't, that becomes part of the weakness. And then do we need to address it? And that's going to be like, yes, we need to address your confidence level. The second thing is can you effectively increase the level of confidence in others? Well, that's this particular module. And there's a lot of great content in here that I'm not going to share because I think you should just take the module with me. I think you should just join me in this hero's journey. But one of the points that I wrote down myself as I was listening is that the only thing missing for them, your job is to help people see themselves better than they are. So as a leader, my job is to help people see themselves better than they are. And of course, I clicked up because my 2022 word of the year is better. I'm like, okay. And then as he continued to talk about things that we could do and be and become, I wrote down the only thing missing is their belief. I need to help them see that. So all I have to do is lend them my belief in them. I look at them. I look at if I ever met you and you were like, oh, hem-hawing about certain things. I'm like, are you kidding? What you're telling me and what you're sharing with me right now is incredible. I've just lent you some of my belief about you right back to you. It continues to fuel that. As a leader, that's what we should do is we should look at the good in others and build that up. We should focus on their strengths column. So when it comes back to the SWOT analysis, what is that strength? How are you able to do that? If that's part of your strategy is to build the confidence in your team, what do you need to be able to do that? Well, you're going to find their strengths. And so, I guess really with a SWOT analysis, it's coming back to defining an intention. Define where it is right now. What do you want things to look like? If you were to focus in your strengths column, do that even better. If you look at your weaknesses column, who can help you fill that gap so that you, as that particular person, can then build the confidence in somebody else because your weakness is probably their strength. So then how do you do that? That is part of the impact that you can have in somebody else's life without even knowing it. Back to George Perez and Wonder Woman. He has no idea. He has no idea. By sharing his gift with the world, the kind of impact it's had on my life and now yours, because I am the person I am, because he's had part of that influence in my life. I cannot express to you enough that how you show up in the world matters greatly. You have no idea the kind of impact a simple conversation in passing for you meant the world to somebody else and completely changed the trajectory of that day, which changed the rest of their life because they were able to start thinking different and feeling better about themselves and the world around them. How you show up matters. Are you paying attention, oh business leader, how you're showing up to your own business with your own team, in your own family? Let's go there, family business owner. Are you paying attention? Now, is it fair if somebody else is not paying attention, but you are? Hell no, life ain't fair. Nobody ever said it was fair. Nobody ever, even Jesus said, like, every day has enough trouble of its own. Jesus basically said life is not fair. However, if we are intentional about being our best selves because we know what our strengths are and we know what we want to do to be better, we can go out confidently every day knowing that we can have a positive impact on at least one person in the world today. It doesn't have to be millions of people at a time. I know millions are not watching this episode, but I know you are, and you, my friend, matter in this world. If there was anything I could do personally to be able to tell you that, to look you in the face and just squeeze your shoulders and say, you matter. You are a fantastic person. Show up like you are, because you are. I don't like to get airy fairy or like super feely. So that's pretty much it on that, because if you know me at all, I don't have that super compassionate personality, but I firmly believe that confidence does breed success. And if we are confident in who we are and how we show up for others, I'm also very confident that I'm fulfilling my purpose of providing a positive impact and value every day. Confident in that. And that, my friends, is what helps me sleep at night when money doesn't match. Because money's not going to be there to comfort you. Okay. Money is not the thing that has impact in the world. Money can help get some things done, but it's not going to have the impact. You have the impact. Money doesn't create an idea. You create the idea. Money doesn't actually do the work. You have to do the work. Money doesn't create the relationship that's long lasting. You can pay, mind you, let me just get real about it. Yeah, you could pay somebody to do some work right now, but are they loyal to you? Do they really give a crap about you if you're just paying them to do this transactional thing and then off they go? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. So I'm just here to challenge you during this episode. Do your own SWOT analysis. Focus and define your strengths and even your weaknesses. For your strengths, let me reiterate, for your strengths, find out who's impacted you greatly. And if you get a chance, tell them the kind of impact they've had on you in this world and what their unknown impact, like George Perez had no idea he was recreating Wonder Woman for me, but that's the impact that he's had. Go deeper in your strengths. Find who's had impact on you and let them know. Weaknesses. Define where that comes from. Root it out. Is it something that you need to readjust your belief set about? Probably. Is it something that you need to get somebody else to handle? Probably. So that's how to do the week. Don't work on like, oh, I got to get better at this thing. No, you either keep it and delegate or you get rid of it. To me, that's that would be the simple task on the checklist, but really hard to do. Okay. It's hard to come to terms with yourself. That scene in Empire Strikes Back. No, Return of the Jedi. Empire Strikes Back. Luke with Yoda on the planet where he has to go into the cave and he faces his fear, and his fear is himself. That's the point. It's hard to deal with your own weaknesses because you have to come face to face with your own self. So it's usually when I tell people, get a coach, have a coach, or if it gets too uncomfortable, get a qualified therapist to help you walk through that and talk through that. Because sometimes it can get a little, I cried on a couple of things. Even this hero's journey module, I ended up crying. I was like, where's this coming from? So you take a moment and you figure out where it came from and decide if you want to keep that or not in your belief set. And if no, then you work to get rid of it. You have to remind yourself that doesn't belong here anymore. All right. That's strengths and weaknesses. I've gone enough on that. Opportunities and threats. The opportunities are the fun column to work in. Boy, those of us who are big thinkers, we love to just stay in opportunities all the time because that's fun to see new things that may be able to happen. But you can't stay there because you need to get confident about your strengths to actually do the work necessary to bring a new opportunity to life. Because let's face it, there's a lot of hard work to business. Then the threats, we need to be alert. We need to be constantly on alert for things that could be threatening our business. It could be anything from some of the basics that we've always should have had on the list is, legislation, inflation. It could be new competitors in the marketplace that has more media dollars than me. It could be all kinds of things. And now we just add on a pandemic. If you have a brick and mortar, you're going to add the possibility of a fire or a natural disaster or, those kinds of things. We need to know that those threats exist. And are we prepared for that? So do you have a fire escape plan? Do you have a succession plan? Should you have somebody in your executive team suddenly not be here anymore? And not just because the proverbial hit by a bus, but what if they decide to move to a whole new country? Well, what do you do about that? So what if, right? This is the what ifs. And are you prepared for the what ifs? Even if it's just a couple bullet points on a page, what's my first step? That's how do you handle the threats? Not to get, too deep in the weeds of strategy, but that's what, you have your financial people, you have your wealth managements, your financial planners, you have your CPAs, you have your attorneys, you have business coaches. Even though I am one and I have one. Okay. A business coach can help you tremendously navigate a lot of this kind of stuff on a regular basis. In this episode, because I'm going to shut up now. This episode has been packed full of stuff. Hopefully, if it's something that you found useful, please put it to use. If you like this kind of material, please let me know. I will do this stuff on a periodic basis and thrown in separately. We'll talk about all kinds of different things that I have learned and am applying in my own business as a business owner. So I'm giving to you what I know has been working for me. Do with it what you will, but just do something. So I do appreciate your time today in listening, watching this episode of Small Business Success Talk. I have been your host, facilitator, speaker, author, marketing strategist, business coach, all around Wonder Woman, Christy Smallwood, your host for Small Business Success Talk. Sorry, I tickle myself sometimes. It's all good. You don't have to laugh, even though I think I'm funny. Check us out. Check out all the other episodes with my wonderful, wonderful, wonderful guests that I've had over the past couple of years and will continue to have in the upcoming future. Please stay tuned for more on Small Business Success Talk. Have a fabulous day.